Welcome everyone to Creativo Corner. This is where we interview emerging artists. Today we have Vikina with us. She was at our Art Basel event in 2023. Amazing voice, amazing performer. She has a lot to tell us. Thank you so much, Vikina.
Thanks for having me. It was a really fun time. That party was a great night, and I had a lot of fun with you guys, so I'm happy to
Yay!
be back.
Yay! So, I wanted to get started for our viewers with
Mhm.
asking you what inspired you to become a singer and how did you get started in the music industry?
I think it's really hard for me to remember a time where I wasn't a singer. I think it's something that I always really felt drawn to doing. My dad, my uncles, my dad always really had great music taste, and then my uncles both sang and played guitar like around Christmas and stuff. So that was something that I grew up kind of watching and always like really enjoying. I always loved like musical movies and musical shows as a kid, and my grandma tells me of like times where she would babysit me and I would listen to the theme song of like her novelas that she was watching, and that like she would find me kind of like singing the songs, right? Or like performing them. And I think I discovered really young the power that I had when I would sing, and I recognized that people for the first time in what in my short life actually stopped and listened to me. And that was an interesting power that I discovered very young. And my mom tells me that she discovered my personality after my first like Christmas pageant that I sang, and everybody like that whole week was like, "Oh my God, you're the girl that sang so beautiful. You're the girl that sang so beautiful." So needless to say, for like the next 2 months, I was like, "You don't remember me? I'm the girl
Girl.
that sang so beautiful." So I think yeah. So I really enjoyed that attention, and I kind of decided really, really young that that's something that I wanted to do, and I know that it's one of those things that people say it's impossible, an impossible thing to accomplish, but if somebody's gonna do it, I thought,
I
why
love
can't it be
that. I
me?
love that. That's honestly the real artist mentality. Like just like putting it out there and not really caring. Like you're gonna love me no matter what, right? I love that. That's great. Cool.
And not wanting to live with regrets either, not wanting to think back on my life and say like, oh wow, I didn't try it. I can definitely say that I've put pretty close to my all
Oh,
into it,
yeah,
which is an accomplishment in and of itself.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Can you describe your style and the type of music that you usually sing? Like obviously you've developed it since you were pretty young.
For sure. So I think when I was young, I was really blessed with the opportunity to work with a lot of, renowned, award-winning engineers and producers, and I was very eager to kind of do whatever I needed to do, whatever sound. I think you don't really know yourself, and you're trying to find that, and really young as a person and as artists, like we're expected to understand that, put it in a box, and then sell it in a relatable way. So I think it took me a really long time to really settle into who I was. I think it took a lot of life experience and my own traumas and my own kind of trial and error. I did, oh my God, I've done every genre. It feels like at this point except country, and then I did that this year with Pitbull. So I've dabbled. I started in kind of singer-songwriter music. My brother played guitar because I always felt bad he didn't have anybody to play
Oh,
sports with. So I did like my first kind of like pop acoustic singer-songwriter songs with my brother. And then I worked with a producer that kind of brought me into like, more pop, kind of R&B. And then I fell into this group at singing lessons. They were called Los Primeros. They had a pretty large local following, and they were performing at like quinceañeras and like at pep rallies, and they had like a nice local following. And I met them at singing lessons, and the lead singer, the lead rapper in that band was like, "Look, I love the way you sing," because he would have his classes right after mine. And he's like, "I would love to introduce you to our manager. Like, we're looking to like integrate." So, that's kind of when I fell into Latin music. I was probably like 17 or 18 at that time. I was in college, and I recognized that there was a void for females in the Latin industry at that time. Like Carol G hadn't popped off, Nati Natasha hadn't popped off, Becky G hadn't popped off. So we were getting a lot of bookings and a lot of shows and a lot of opportunities because I was a girl. And I grew a lot with them. I fell into I fell into the Latin industry, which is wasn't something that I anticipated doing growing up. I mean, I always liked Latin music. I always liked reggaeton. And at that point there weren't girls making reggaeton. It was a very male dominated genre, like completely. Other than Evie Queen, like it
Wow.
just didn't exist. So I kind of fell into that band, and that's when I first started experimenting with like urban music, Latin urban music, and then making it, female and making it pop. So I was in that band for like 2 years until the band kind of like fell apart. They were much older than I was. I think they were getting tired of the industry, and I was really young and hungry and like ready to go. So from there, I kind of evolved into like mambo, which was very trendy and pop, and like merengue and like even salsa I dabbled into until I worked with a producer where I told him, look, I like Latin music, but I just don't understand why making music in Spanish has to be Latin. Like, why can't I make like R&B that just happens to be in Spanish, right? So that was my first experimentation with something that we called bachata tronic, and it's still to this day one of like my highest streaming songs. It was a mix of like of R&B and B and trap with bachata, which was really exciting to me because it was something that I felt really identified with, that it was like a new fusion. And that's when I decided that I wanted to be kind of a pioneer of fusing Latin music with contemporary pop, right? So at this point, I was making Latin music, but I was going to raves and listening to EDM. Like dance music has always really been what I partied to and what I really enjoyed in growing up in Miami. But there hasn't been anyone that's really pioneered EDM in Spanish, which is at the point where I'm at in my career now. I really want to. I feel like it's a great time for Latinos in general. We're no longer trying to catch up with the trend, and people are looking at it to us like as trendsetters. And I'm experimenting with dance music and EDM and just doing it in Spanish, which is like something I've always wanted to do, but there never really was a space for it. And now I think the market is finally like open, and even the Latin Grammys have finally opened a category for Latin EDM. So I've done every genre. Even my collaborations with Pitbull right now have dabbled into like the country space, and I definitely want to be a multifaceted artist, but I do want to be a pioneer of this movement. So I'm trying to hone in right now with my music this year and really just kind of go for this new evolving
Ooh,
genre.
I love that. So maybe we'll see you at Ultra up there performing.
Yeah, definitely. I performed at Ultra last year, not this year. It's like at the smallest stage they have, but I still can say that I
Oh,
performed at
cool.
Ultra. I did one song with my friend Los de la Vega, who is a DJ out there, and I'm trying to book more festivals, but a lot of these booking agents are asking me to start learning how to DJ.
Mm.
So low key, I've been
That's
practicing.
awesome. Oh my gosh, you could be a DJ with your voice.
I think it'd be really cool to like
Yeah,
DJ and
that's
then
so
sing.
cute. So cute. You can lead DJ and like have your voice on the
I
track,
know.
right? Like have that be like your voice
Exactly.
on.
DJ my own tracks, and then kind of, like press play and perform it, for a
Okay.
second. There's a couple DJs that are doing that right now, like Kalina Sanders, and this girl Jazzy that I've been like
Oh,
looking up to right
nice.
now.
Cool, cool. I mean, if that's like the next step as an artist, like helping the
Hmm.
genre evolve, right? It sounds like you really see yourself as that trendsetter and someone who wants to push the envelope.
I always have been. I started doing reggaeton before girls were doing reggaeton. I started fusing um, L- Latin music with commercial pop music and R&B before it was commonly done. And then now I'm really trying to be this. I don't like doing what everybody does, and I think that's a blessing and a curse. But I think as an artist, I like to be challenged, and I like to kind of, like you said, push the envelope and
Yeah.
push the boundaries.
And you're signed to Pitbull's label. How can you tell me about how that happened? That's pretty cool. That's actually awesome.
It is pretty awesome. I think growing up, if anybody asked me like who would my dream collaboration be, I 9 out of 10 times would always say Pitbull because I've really admired his ability to conquer both the English and Spanish markets in a seamless, authentic, and organic way. And then also the fact that he's an entrepreneur and like a philanthropist and like does all these amazing, incredible things. So I always really looked up to him, and I think I always kind of had my eye on getting his attention. One of the first labels that I was signed to kind of had like a joint venture with them. So I met a lot of the people on his team. Met a lot of the people on his circle, and I had a crush on this guy that was on his team. And I had a crush on this guy who was on his team, and so he posted a picture with this girl that was gorgeous, and I'm like, who's this girl?
What?
And I swear to God. And fast forward, her and I ended up becoming really good friends. And I find out, that she was related to him. Like they're like family members with Pitbull. So, her and I actually became really good friends. Long story short, I ditched the guy, became better friends with her. And I knew that she was related to Pitt, but like I never really pulled that card of like, hey, get me the meeting until I was on this reality singing competition at the end of 2019 that essentially they were calling me Miss 305 on the show. Everybody was kind of advocating for their countries, like, oh, this girl was from Bolivia, this other girl was a Cuban girl, another girl was from Colombia or Mexico, and everybody was repping their country. But I carry a lot of flags. I'm Cuban, I'm Ecuadorian, but I'm born in the US. So if I'm gonna rep anything, it's Miami first. So I was always like Miami, 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 and I've always wanted to be an advocate, like kind of like for Miami, because if we think about it, it's a really young culture relative to the other cities in the United States, like New York, 250 years and stuff, and Miami, yes, it's an old city, but it's really relatively had its boom in the 80s, and I feel really strongly about the culture that we're creating here. So I really loved repping Miami, and one day she calls me and she says, "You'll never believe who was talking about you at dinner today." They went to a dinner with like the executives at Univision, which is the network that the show was on, and they were talking about me and with me and like talking highly about me to Pitt. So I made my moment and I said, "Get me the meeting." I hadn't really ever pulled that card. I had never pulled the card because she's such a good friend of mine, and I, it's just I wanted it to happen in an organic way, and essentially I got the meeting with this partner, and they had just bought this amazing studio facility. And it's not like they just like handed me a recording contract all at once. They were like, "Look, we'll let you use the recording studio. Like, we'll let you come use it like family." And essentially, I spent like 10 months of just showing up to the studio every day without anybody having to call me, without anybody having to like, I just. And at that time, it was during the pandemic too, so nobody wanted to have sessions. I didn't know how to engineer and record myself, but I taught myself. And I think all of that hustle and all of that grind is really what kind of showed them that, yes, not only am I talented, but I want it and I know how to put the grind in to make it happen. So I think that's something that Pitt, I would expect is something that he appreciated, from me. So I think I've been with the label now for like 2 years at this point, and they've continued to help me and watch me develop. He's put me on like 6 songs now, which is wild because like I'm just like pleased with the fact that I have his like stamp of approval, and that they're like helping fund my project, and I'm no longer having to invest in my music videos anymore, and like coming out of what I used to call out of pocket records. But the fact that he believes in me enough to have put me on some of his hit records is just, it feels a little surreal still as I talk about it, because I looked up to him for so long, and wanting him to even know I exist was like on my bucket list. And now I have songs with him. I have a personal, relationship with him. So it's pretty crazy, and it is feel really surreal.
Aw. It sounds like you guys really get along. Like you're like smiling. Like you guys like really really have a good relationship.
Yeah, I'm really astonished at the way that they've really taken me in like family, and I feel really blessed to have someone like him as my mentor and someone that I can actually reach out to with questions and ask his opinion on songs and stuff, which is just I feel really blessed because he's as incredible of a person as you think he is, as everybody says he is, because he truly is. He's truly just a gentleman, a family man, and has given me any and every opportunity that he has had available, which is like shocking. I'm just waiting to go on tour. Is the only one I'm waiting for.
We're calling it 2024, 2025. It's happening.
That's the only one I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Yeah, let's manifest. Let's manifest that he takes me on his next tour.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of, you opened up for the Latin Music Awards for Pitbull. How was that? That performance was
Yeah.
amazing.
Hmm.
So
Again, another incredible opportunity and door that he opened up for me. You know, I think as a little kid, you watch these award shows and you dream about being there one day, let alone just like presenting an award or walking the red carpet, but like performing at one of them and opening the show was just a huge bucket list item I didn't even think I could reach. And um I'm really grateful for that experience. It was a live telecast. I They sat me on the front of the stage right before the show was starting, and like the audience was like kind of empty, and they had me there for like 10-15 minutes before the show started, so I wasn't that nervous. But as I'm standing there, more and more celebrities start sitting in front of me. Like Becky G sits in front of me, Peso Pluma sits in front of me, Carlos Vivas sits in front of me, Olga Tañón sits in front of me, comes up to say hi because I knew her from the TV show that I was on. She was a judge. And more celebrities start sitting in front of me, and I'm like, okay, I'm nervous now. Like, so I was definitely more and more nervous as like the I guess the tension was building. But I really enjoyed that moment for every second that it was. I really now it feels like a little bit of a blur, but I know as I was there I just enjoyed it. I soaked it in, and I still have some vivid recollections of that feeling, but I tried my best to just kind of enjoy the moment for what it was. And I think I'm trying to do that in general with my career. We don't know how long these moments or these 10-15 minutes of fame are going to last. So I'm trying not to. It's important to think in advance and to like plan and to be proactive and think about your future and stuff. But I'm really trying to actively live in the moment with everything that's happening right now.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Speaking of, we love a multi-hyphenate queen, and you just launched Fina by Vikina. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Sounds like you're branching out.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I mean, like my mentor, I really want to be an entrepreneur. I really want to be multi hyphenate. I really want to be more than just a singer. Um, I think, one, I, for a long time, I've been Vicky the singer, and most of my friends and my childhood companions always knew me as a singer. And I do really desperately want to be more than that. I think in just we have a bandwidth, right? And we can only stretch so far, and there's only 24 hours in the day, so I always felt like I had to do things in like a sequential order. And now that I've hit a comfortable space in my career where I've got a record label, I'm releasing music on a consistent basis, and I'm I've I don't want to say that it's comfortable because it's like it's still a lot of work. But I've hit a rhythm. I think that's the word that I'm looking for. I've hit a rhythm with my music, and I think I have the bandwidth now to begin expanding into other things. So Fina by Vikina is a clothing rental website that I've developed alongside Haverdash, and basically it allows people the opportunity to rent and return clothing, which I, as an artist, I'm no stranger to having to buy and return things and wear items for a red carpet or for an event or for a photo shoot that become immortalized on film, and then I can't really wear it again. So I think I myself got annoyed of having to like go buy and return things and having to like be embarrassed at Saks Fifth Avenue, like, hey,
Oh,
I gotta return this, and then like let's be real, every artist does it. If you're the artist isn't doing it, their stylist is doing it for them, right? And I kind of got sick of that. So I wanted to have something where I could ethically wear and return my clothes, right? So Haverdash has this really amazing influencer face portal and program, and decided to partner with me. So we launched this website, and like I get to wear these clothes, kind of show it off, show my fans, and if they're interested they can also, you know, sign up. It's like $50 a month, and you can get 4 pieces at a time, which is super
Yeah.
reasonable. And then when you want to buy the clothes, it's actually at a super discounted rate, right? So this top that I'm wearing right now, it like if I wanted to keep it, which I might because it's so comfy and cute, I just like it's like
Oh,
$18
that's awesome.
that I need to spend on top, you know, on top of what would be my subscription. Yeah. So I mean, not there's another dress that I wore the other day that I really liked, but I was like $70 if I wanted to keep it, and I was like, I'll pass.
Yeah.
You know, so you kind of like make the decision based
Yeah.
on your budget that week, and if you really really love it, if you think that it's like a really highly reusable dress. So it's been fun. It's been a fun venture. I hope to continue branching out into other things.
Nice. Awesome. Your song Love My Body
Hmm.
is such an anthem also. Congratulations. I love how you're making it about body
Oh,
inclusivity
thank
on your
you.
social media and loving yourself as you are. I saw your little
Hmm.
reel about like how do you love my body? I work out, I run, I eat healthy. How do you see the entertainment
Hmm.
industry and how has it shifted since you've been an artist with regards to like beauty standards for women?
I think that the industry is definitely taking a strong shift into inclusivity, which I think is an incredible thing. My song Love My Body was definitely a tribute to that. And I think that as an actress, aside from being a singer, I also do acting and modeling on the side, whatever pays the bills. Like I'm acting, I'm modeling, I'm learning to DJ, I've got my fashion thing, I've got, you know, I've multi hyphenate, right? So even with acting and modeling roles, I'm seeing a lot of castings come in for non-model types, right? I think the industry is looking for, you know, interesting faces and you know, relatable people, which is like a great shift in today's society and in you know, in the industry that I'm definitely here for. Absolutely.
Cool. Cool. Have you, oh, I have another question. I'm super curious about the aliens from your Sexy Sonic music video. What inspired those? What is that?
Um So it was an interesting sequence of events because originally I wrote that song with my writing partner. His name is Robbie Elias. And he's gay and an advocate and an ally for the LGBTQ community. So when we were thinking about how we want to do this video, he was like, "Why don't we like invade drag brunch?" And I was like, "That's actually really funny. Like, what if we invaded in like space costumes, like aliens, like, hey, our house, you've been invaded by a fully binary bad bitch, you know, on the mic." And like we were working for me to get like we were working for me to get like a performance, and then just scheduling and stuff, it didn't work out for us to do it at our house that weekend, and we were on a little bit of a time crunch, so I ended up shooting the video at a local roller skating rink that actually was going out of business. It's pretty iconic. It's called Super Wheels, and it's like it was like a childhood venue that like we would go to like on field trips and like growing up birthday parties. Like Super Wheels was just like an iconic, like a Miami staple as a kid growing up. So the fact that they were going out of business, I really wanted to take a moment to like immortalize again this Miami staple. But I had already bought all of the costumes for for the space invasion. So I said, whatever, I guess we're gonna invade Hot Wheels.
Girl.
And it was like a sheer just coincidence of like serendipity that that same week was when they were saying that they had like the alien spotting at Bayside
Oh my,
in downtown. I don't know if you remember seeing that on the news that they
I
were
saw that
saying
on the
it was like just sheer serendipity. Yeah. So whatever. That's really where it came from, and it was just a lot of fun.
Oh, no, it is
It was just
cute. It's
silly.
so cute. And I love the roller rink. Very cute. Adorable. Adorable all
Yeah, I gotta make more content with the alien
around.
costumes.
You do. Number one, because they're like so big. They're probably taking up so much space. Like they need to like have More space than you like.
It was like an inflatable costume, so it actually like
Yeah.
yeah. It actually broke. It broke during the shoot, and I was super upset about that. So I wrote a letter. Like I had to write an email. I'm like, look, like I paid money for this suit, and it like literally broke, and they sent me a new one. So I have like a fresh one that's just sitting there,
Oh.
and I definitely I have to kind of continue making some content out. Actually, you're inspiring me to get it re-inspired with that.
Nice. Nice. It sounds like coming up with the music videos is like a really creative process.
Yeah, definitely. I have a new song coming out. It's called Done With It, and it's essentially a breakup song.
Oh.
So I don't know. I had this vision, and then there's one of the lines where like it's like we were burning fast. You know, I thought it would last, but we were burning fast.
Hmm.
So I thought, all right, let's make a video where like I have like I used to have something that I call an Xbox, which is stuff of like all of my previous relationships, like little memories. So I thought maybe I would just like burn. Yeah, I would just like burn the things in my Xbox, like old letters and cards and pictures and stuff that I would like burn in a fire. But then my team was like, fire is a little bit like scary to work with. With pyro, we have to have like security and stuff on set, so it becomes more expensive and it would throw us out of budget. So then I came up with this concept. I'm like, okay, well then instead let's like throw it in the water. Like let's find like a lake in a neighborhood. So it was actually a very cathartic experience because I had like this bag that was kind of like full of emotional baggage, right? So I kind of had something that represented a bunch of like my old relationships. Like I had an ex-boyfriend that went to Harvard, so I wore a Harvard sweater. I had an ex-boyfriend that was like really into baseball, so I put a baseball in it. Another boyfriend that was like really into like video games, so I literally threw an Xbox controller in the lake. And the image of like all of that floating in the water, it was a very cathartic experience for me because I felt like I was kind of like shedding all of these memories. But the song really came from a period where me and my current boyfriend broke up with a little bit of for a little bit of time, and I really thought I was done with it, but I guess I
Oh, you're back
wasn't.
together. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it ended up working out that way.
Okay.
But I got a good song out of it. So, yeah. It's funny because I tried to come up with this like I came up with this marketing scheme where like I put like a fake conversation, like a fake text fight,
Hmm.
like saying like, "Oh, I'm done with it," and I just posted it on my Instagram the other day. And I warned him before. I was like, "Hey, babe, I'm gonna post this like fake interaction, like in case you get like some messages about it. Like I just wanted you to be aware that I'm doing it." And he's like, "All right, whatever. I don't care."
Oh my God, I saw that. I was wondering what that was.
I posted it, and within an hour,
Like, what is this? Now we know.
spoiler alert, it's a song release.
Okay.
Now we know. And he said he got like 7 or 8 calls and texts from people in the hour that it was up. And he's like, I'm in Brazil visiting my family right now. Like I cannot handle all of this. Like, please take it down. And I'm like, but it's marketing. Just like, please, you're ruining everything. I'm done
Oh.
with it. I'm done with you.
Oh
Um,
no.
so I feel bad. He's like, please don't involve me. Actually, I used like some Polaroids and pictures of him in the in the video. So people are I might kind of like stretch this out. I don't know when this interview is coming out, but I might stretch out the story and make it look like we actually broke up a little bit. So when you see that kind of storytelling, it's fun. It's fun to be creative. I have an all-female team that I kind of come up with my ideas with. Most of them are born by me, but I run them by them and then we execute them together. Um but it is definitely fun, part of the process.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It sounds like you're basically like the singer, creative director of like the whole product. Well, of course with the team, but you're like the creative director.
Absolutely. Yeah, I have a team that executes, but I'm definitely my own creative director. I think as artists, like we always think like there's this like magical manager or person that's gonna come in and change our lives. But I realized really young that if I don't do things myself, like if I don't learn how to record, if I don't learn how to come up with these ideas myself, I'm only stunting my own growth. So, I've always been one to take initiative and not wait around for things to get done. If I want it done, I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah, you're so young to have that real drive. That's probably why you've made it so far, by this like young age. So that's amazing. It's great.
Yeah, it's definitely it's definitely an ongoing challenge. I think I always get asked this question is like, what's been like the hardest thing or the hardest obstacle for you to overcome? And like, yes, we've all had trauma, like we've all had like traumatic experiences. Like I had like a domestic violence relationship that was really emotionally and then became physically abusive. And like, yes, that was difficult to overcome. But as an artist, I think that the most difficult thing that we have to overcome is on a daily basis the desire to get up and keep doing it. Because if I quit singing tomorrow, the reality is that my boyfriend will still love me, my parents will still love me, my friends will still be my friends, and it's me, it's me. Like my label's not on my ass every day saying like, hey Vikina, did you write a song today? Hey, like are you gonna release a record this week? Like if they don't have to spend the money on marketing, they won't. But it's me that has to be that driving force that wakes up every day and says, you know what, I want to do this, or hey, I really want to go on tour this summer, how can I make it happen? And it's that overcoming the daily desire to quit and not do it anymore, because it really is, you have to be your own gasoline, and looking for that fuel to fuel your fire and pulling it out of yourself every single day is, I think, the most challenging part that nobody really talks about.
Oh wow. Wow. Yeah, I guess that makes sense because you're like
Yeah.
you're not only thinking of the song, you're thinking of how you're packaging it. You're thinking of like a
I'm
million.
thinking about how I'm packaging it. I'm thinking about my social media content. I'm thinking about like marketing strategies. I'm thinking about, oh, I really want to get back into acting and modeling. Like, how can I look for more auditions? How can I get more agents? How can I'm constantly having to think about this every day, and it's not a 9 to 5 job. It's not like anybody's asking how many hours I clocked in this week. It's literally me. I'm my own boss.
Yeah.
So I have to set the standard for myself and hold myself accountable and all of the above, If I don't write a song for an entire week, like
Wow. You write a
nobody
song every
nobody's on my
week?
ass about it. It's oh my God, I used to write multiple songs a week. It depends. It kind of goes in ebbs and flows, right? Like there are some weeks where I'm like overwhelmed with like performances, and like maybe I'm doing a lot of like modeling and acting jobs that week, so I don't have time to get in the studio, like this week for example. And in March I had a bunch of people in town for Miami Music Week and for like Ultra and stuff, a bunch of DJs. So that week, oh my God, I was in the studio like every day, because every opportunity that I could get somebody in the studio, I like wrote 7 songs that week.
Hmm.
But it kind of goes in ebbs and flows, right?
Oh wow. So you have so many songs that you're writing. How do you choose what to put out, what to market?
That's a really good question because it's difficult. Like I, w- uh, I run a lot of things. Like I run my music through Pit and I ask for his opinions and stuff, but and my team too has a lot of validating input. Like I kind of like put my songs on like a playlist, and we listen to them, and we connect collectively, have conversations about what we think should be the next single. But really is a lot of the pressures on me to decide. Like I am the deciding factor at the end of the day, to be like, this is the one I want to release next. Like at the end of the day, if I advocate for something strong enough, the label really does follow my lead in that way. Like they give me their suggestions and their opinions, but like they're gonna follow my lead if I really actively want to do something. And I release a song with them like every 4 to 6 weeks. That's the window that I've been given. If I could, I would release a song every week. But I have to fit into what the budget and what the bandwidth of the label you know executives and employees can manage. I'm like having a good um so sometimes we are able to release some songs with through other labels. They've been giving me that opportunity because it helps me kind of release music a little bit faster. So I have been having a lot of anxiety about that, because I've been putting my album together. I've been trying to put what my album would look like when it releases some point in the summer, and what that looks like. Now that I've been exploring the Latin EDM genre, there is kind of like some commercial pop dance leaning stuff, and then there's a lot of more like underground kind of like Latin tech house stuff that I've been exploring with too, and I'm really trying to make those sounds mold or blend somewhere in the middle. So it's been a little challenging because it's kind of like, yes, I am committed to electronic dance music and dance in general, but there are so many subgenres within dance music that
Of course.
I've been exploring, and I really want to, for the first time, like really commit and marry a sound, especially if it's going to be my first album, you know? So I think it's like a healthy mix of going to be like that, pop dance music, but like a little bit of like cool, like underground, kind of like maybe Afro house stuff too.
Ooh, nice, nice. And when you're releasing your first album, I know a big part of how artists like make an income is by going on tour. Will you be doing a tour associated with the album? Like what are the plans for the album release?
Um, We're still putting it together. I really wanted my album to come out in May, and then we didn't reach a couple deadlines just for a couple, things that were out of control. So I'm looking at sometime in the summer, like in July.
Okay.
So if everything goes according to plan, I kind of heard through a little birdie that Pitt's going to be going on tour again, maybe towards the end of summer. So if everything goes according to plan, hopefully that he takes me on that one, because I've been trying to get myself out of Miami and get myself going on tour. But a lot of these venues, I mean, yes, I can do a performance for like 30 minutes, but like if you want me to fill like an hour and a half slot without dancers, like I'll literally just collapse. Like I can't, so that's why a lot of these booking agents are asking me to DJ, because these venues and these festivals don't have a lot of live stages. They have more of like DJ slots or like full hour and a half, 2 hours. So like if you can DJ or come with a DJ for 2 hours and then we can get you to have like a performance, that would be the most ideal way to work around it. So I'm definitely trying to get, some booking agencies in the mix with me. I've been practicing the DJ thing, but I'm really fingers crossed for the Pit tour. I think it would be amazing to like open for him and then to perform a couple songs with him too.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, baby steps, right? I think, yeah, I didn't realize when
Yeah,
you're
I'm
on tour, you
starting
probably
with
do have
too.
to fill like 2 hours of dancing, singing. Oh my gosh, that's a lot. Wow.
Well, it just depends on the venues. Like, are you doing? I'm not doing stadiums. I don't think I can fill up a stadium, but I'm gonna probably be performing at clubs.
Yeah.
You know, and at clubs are like concert venues, and these concert venues, they want to fill up the slot. And surely I do have enough music to do an hour maybe, but I don't like an hour and a half, 2 hours. It's difficult. So I think I need to kind of level up my performance and add something to it, with which is the DJing.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Any tips for aspiring singers looking to break into the industry? People who have that passion, but they don't know what the next step is.
I would say to become as independent as you possibly can. Anything that you can learn to do, anything that you find yourself waiting on someone else to do for you, learn to do it, right? So if you're waiting on a graphic designer to make your cover artwork, get a Canva account and learn how to make your own cover artwork, like play around with it. If you are waiting, for engineers to schedule a studio time with you, or if you have a song that a producer has and like you just really want to make a small change but you're waiting for them, learn to do it. Like learn to work Logic, learn to work Pro Tools, like practice, be as independent as you possibly can, because the less you can wait for other people or depend on other people, the faster you'll be able to move. And that's the biggest that was the biggest change, I think, pivot for me in my career, because now whenever I feel inspired to write a song, I don't have to wait for somebody to open and turn on the spaceship for me. Like I know how to run the spaceship, you know. So it's cool because I now, when I at that point was when I turned the shift from being the only girl in the room, right, in a room of boys, to now being the girl that runs the session, and I get to cater and curate my room. My sessions are always girls and gays now. Like that's the way
Oh,
I like to work. I mean, no offense to hetero guys. Like I've had sessions with plenty of hetero producers, but like if I had my way, if I'm going to be sitting in a room and getting vulnerable and writing songs and opening my soul, I want to do it with my friends. right? So even like some of my really good friends that aren't in the music industry, but they're like very poetic and they used to write and they don't write anymore because they have like a 9 to 5, job. And but like they're very creative. Like I'll be like, why don't you come to the studio with me? And help me write a song, and I'm able to do that now because it's my session. I run the session.
Yeah.
And that was like a huge pivot for me.
Ooh. Do you think we'll see, do you have producing credits? So you're producing now, like other songs as well?
I, I haven't really dabbled into production yet. I think it's the last hyphenate in my in my selection that I'll probably jump on. Right now I'm blessed that I'm working with a lot of different really talented DJs and producers, and I don't have a shortage of beats. But I think that's something that I'll eventually get into. I'm just not there yet. I think what I've negotiated with myself is that eventually I'm gonna want to get pregnant and I'm gonna want to have a family. And during that time where I'm kind of a little bit more homebound, I think that'll be a time where I'll be able to experiment a lot with just sitting in the lab and producing. I've been doing that a lot with DJing too. I didn't realize how much of my time would be invested in practicing that. So I think when that time comes for me that I want to, begin having a family, there will be a time where I'm going to be at home a lot more. And I don't know how to be bored. And I'm borderline toxically productive, right? I don't know how to just sit still and do nothing. So I think that'll be the time where I'll definitely want to dive into maybe messing around with production. Not yet, though. Soon.
Okay, okay. I can tell you're gonna get all the hyphenates. By the time you're like 40, girl, like you'll have all of them, all the hyphenates.
Yeah. Yeah,
All
I
the
think
hyphenates, go on your
I
own
think we
tour.
are all we're a lot very capable. We're very capable beings, and you just have to believe it.
Yeah, that's cool. That's awesome. Um,
hmm
Lastly, what do you enjoy most about being an artist and what keeps you motivated? Like you said, waking up every day, finding that fire. What is your motivation?
Um, I enjoy the fact that I get to create some kind of form of art every day, whether it's writing a song or performing with my band or like today I worked with chewy.com and I was a host on like their like tutorial platform on their YouTube, and we made a tutorial on how to get rid of cat dandruff on your cat, right? And yes, it was work, but it's in some form creating art. I got to create a piece of content. I got like yesterday, I got to create content with my content crew promoting my new single, so I get to create some kind of form of art in a unique way every day. So I think that's what I enjoy the most, that none of my days are really ever the same. Um,
Hmm.
and I think what keeps me most motivated is when I receive messages from people that tell me that I inspire them. Because I think that as selfish of a career as this is, I think that my intention, and I'll circle back to one of our first questions, is to show people that if somebody's going to do it, why can't it be you? you know I think that was always my goal from a very young point, in a selfless way. Like, I really want to show people that they are wildly capable. That's why I am not only wanting to be a singer, I am now an engineer. Eventually I'll be a producer. I'm learning how to DJ. One day I really want to go to law school and get my law my like become a lawyer and help people with the contracts that I struggled with growing up, right? As an artist, right? And I want to show people that anything that you want to do, you are wildly capable, as long as you just, you know, go for it and really commit to it. So when I receive messages from people that like tell me that, like, like, you inspire me without knowing that, I think that is like the most rewarding part of the experience for me. I had a couple songs um where I was a little bit transparent about my experience with domestic violence. And I think that was also a really rewarding experience, because to me, when I went through that experience, it was something that I was ashamed of, because I thought that things like that don't happen to bad bitches. Like, things like that happen to docile girls that don't know how to stand up for themselves. And something that I discovered when I was transparent about that in my song Animales is that some of the most bad bitches that I know, like some of the baddest bitches I know, are the ones that have gone through domestic violence experiences, because what I discovered is that it's the women that talk back that tend to get hit,
Mm.
you know? So I think it was very healing for me to be a little bit transparent about that experience, because it wasn't something to be ashamed of. It was something that I was able to relate with a lot of women, a lot of people, even that don't speak Spanish, are able to relate with the emotion that I translated in that song, because it's about fighting like animals, you know. And I think we've all been at some point in that toxic relationship where we're like, it's almost animalistic, the point where we are in the fighting. So that was definitely a really cool, rewarding time for me.
Wow. That honestly, you're an inspiration to me just speaking with you today. I mean, we met very briefly at Art Basel, but
Mhm.
you're a really inspirational woman. Like you have a lot of ambition. You've already accomplished so much, and
Yeah.
you just really have a clear vision of where you want to go, and that is very inspirational. You know, not only the domestic violence
Thanks. Thank
overcoming
you.
that.
I think that I think it's a double-edged sword, because when you're wildly ambitious, you tend to like overwhelm yourself. And I had this conversation earlier about like toxic productivity, right? That like I just don't know how to slow down, and I think it comes with its challenges, because you know, I have a hard time slowing down and just relaxing. Which is again a blessing and a curse. So I know that in order to be, they say that tame women seldom make history, or like quiet women seldom make
Yeah.
history. So I know that I have to be a little bit ambitious, and a little bit pushing the narrative and pushing the envelope. But I think it's when it's when people talk about selling your soul, I think it's a little bit of martyrdom. Like I think I have to kind of break through these boundaries sometimes, and I have to go through these experiences and be transparent about them for other people to learn from them. And I think that's what people really mean when they sell their soul, because it's not like this contract with the devil. I think it's really like I am being as authentic and transparent with my failures and with my journey as I possibly can, in order to inspire. And that's the way I've been starting to look at it.
Hmm. Wow. Well, honestly, thank you so much, Vikina. This has been amazing.
Hmm.
You are an inspiration to me. I'm sure you'll be an inspiration to everyone who watches this. And I sincerely hope that I see you on tour with Pitbull this summer, that I see you performing all
Me
those singles
too.
out there. Love my body.
Hmm.
I'll be singing it. Woo! I will buy a ticket to your show
Hmm.
just for Vikina, not Pitbull. But
Yay!
yes,
Yeah, and,
I
my shows are gonna be rowdy. I can't wait.
Amazing. Well, everyone find Vikina at what is your
Awesome.
Instagram handle, Vikina?
It's at Vikina Music on all social platforms. That's Vikina.
Amazing. All right. Thank you so much, and we'll talk soon.